We are live. Yeah. Hi. Hooray. And I was thinking that basically yesterday I was thinking that if I just had someone with me online, um, that I could talk to, that's already a success. Hi, Jewel. Um, thank you for joining us. And before I forget, I'm going to log on to my other account to see the comments better there. Hello, Martina. I don't know. I missed who the first person was, who the winner who joined us first.
Well, I got
So
Jewel as first, but there may be somebody else because you said somebody else was here, but I didn't get that name either.
I
I
don't know
can't
if
see
Joel is a
anything.
woman or a man. Hi, lovely person, lovely people, Martina. So yes, I need to go on Safari here, and because last time I forgot about it, I forgot to log on there. And the thing is that if sometimes notifications don't pop up about the lives, I noticed. And so I learned that I have to go on the actual person's handle or site or what you call it. And then it is supposed to be there. Yes. And then just click on that and then turn the volume off. There we go. So at least from now on, I will be able to see comments if there will be any. So welcome. We have 5 people. Welcome, everybody. Hi, Adrian. And so today we are supposed to be talking about perfection, care, and boundaries according to women, or like how it affects women's
Yeah.
lives. And so this is women's perspective, and as you can see, I have a woman and a man on the screen with me, and the man is Gill. He has his own podcast on Substack called Harrowings, and has a lot of lives, so he is very experienced um, in, in these things. I think so, because like, how did you? And he's married. I guess that's what you are indicating.
Yeah, I have no women's perspective from this. So yeah, I got a lot of
And then you
women's
have to be
perspective.
extremely careful what you're saying, because I guess your wife can come in and you can have, what is it, retributions? So who knows? So you better be on your
Behaved.
best behavior,
Yeah.
I guess. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. So, and you can see Patricia with us as well. And she is you're situated in Sweden.
Yeah.
And then she also has a Substack. I mean, two or three publications do you have?
Yeah.
3?
Empty. Yeah. I'm starting them up, so haven't really got going, but
But you've been on Substack before, right?
oh yeah, yeah. I was a reader on Substack before I was a writer on Substack.
Okay. But
Yeah.
you write really well. So she has you.
Yeah.
I mean, I can say that, right? That you have an unfinished post about this subject that is going to be,
I do about boundaries actually. But yeah.
and we are going to post it later on today.
Yeah.
Yes. So all three. Martina, our team member, our fixed team member, who is always there in the background, has posted. She published a post earlier today,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you haven't checked it out. Please do. It is a wonderful read, and So we've been thinking about this. I published mine. One is kind of like feels a bit negative. The other one is more neutral. Um,
Mm.
and but the main thing is that we have our ideas about what perfection is, and the whole idea to talk about it came to be after last week's live when you, Patricia,
Yeah.
came on the screen for a little bit, and you talked about your experience and how perfectionism was preventing you from doing things because you wanted to give your very best.
Yeah, that are making me sick while trying, pretty much. Yeah.
And so we thought to dig into this a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
Hal, what do you think? What do you think perfect means?
Authentic. I like authenticity. I think authenticity is perfect. One of the reasons I married my wife is because she's too honest to fake it, as she says. We actually have a little postcard that says that, and it's a very cute little line drawing. And, I was very lucky. I stumbled into somebody who would give it to me straight. And
Yeah.
that to me is what I consider perfect is that we are wholly ourselves and we're not putting anybody on.
I
Um,
like that.
yeah, that's great. So is the perfect wife different than the perfect person?
What do you mean different?
Did you
People are people.
Yes, I
The
understand,
parole
but
wife happens to be because we have these things on our fingers, but other than that, we're completely individual instances of the one, in my view.
so when you say or when we say perfect, um, do we have an exact picture in our head?
I never do, obviously. I mean, if you look at my history, but you don't know my history. But I can tell you that I've been bouncing around through life until I met Len, and I met her down at a bead shop. Actually, she was poking around there because she's beater, makes jewelry. She had a little company then called Hanging by a Thread,
Mm-hmm.
and so I met her at Bedazzled, which is the name of the bead shop. No longer there, sadly, but this building is there. And I've been bedazzled by her ever since, I like to say. But there's no pattern with me. I may be an outlier among my tribe because I don't tend to look at the surface of things. I try to harrow into and dig into the surfaces
Mm.
and find out what's underneath. And what's underneath is a pattern, in my view. And I think a lot of us don't know that. A lot of us look at the surface of things and think the surface is the substance. Ain't
Mm.
necessarily so.
Sometimes what you see is actually what you get.
Book by its cover? Sure, I only see the surface of things. I do know that. So I always say, well, I don't know. I just know how it seems to me, and I could be wrong. Maybe I ought to spend some time investigating.
What do you think, Patricia, about perfection?
Well, I don't really tend to think in those terms, personally. Maybe I've grown out of it. I'm 62 now. What am I looking for? If I'm still breathing, that's perfect. If I'm not in pain, great. If I am in pain, I can enjoy my pain. And then I'll have lots of enjoyment. Because after all, the aches and pains, they come. I very rarely have any sensation, my wife will tell you, that I don't report out on. So I do a lot of reporting out
Okay.
of how I see things. And I know my perspective is very limited and distorted.
Mhm.
And it's distorted by all kinds of things like what culture, maybe this is where we're heading. I don't know. I'm looking at your posts. I'm looking at Martine's right now. Um, and I'm seeing that, you know, culture tends to ascribe to us that we have to look a certain way. We have to be a certain way. We have to like arrange our abodes a certain way. And I've arranged mine in kind of a fashion that suits me. Um, it doesn't suit my wife. That's why I'm in the bunker here and she's out there with more of the arts and crafts movement kind of furnishings, right? but we can make ourselves sick by our expectations.
Yeah.
Okay. But can you say some more about it, Patricia? Your view
Yeah.
of perfection. How was it like? Was it different when you were growing up than it is now? What made it to be
Mm,
look what it
I
was,
grew up,
what it looked to you?
shit. I mean, I grew up with two parents who came to Sweden from Poland when I was 2 years old and pretty much built their whole life up from zero and nothing. Um, and kind of was taught very early on that, you can kind of do anything you like, but, you have to put a lot of hard work into it. And I'm a weird combination of my mother was an electrical engineer. She has two university degrees because she had to get two because the one she had from Poland wasn't enough for when she came here. She pretty much worked really hard her entire life. My dad was what you would call we joke around and I say, he was a ladies' man. He was a little bit of a hippie. He smoked weed and he played in a rock band. And he met my mother, and she was a very Christian, straight A student. And those two got married, and they had me. And people ask me, why I'm weird, and I was like, well, I come from two opposite worlds that came here and created a life, and I learned very hard in life that approval and love needs to be earned. It needs to be earned with through the things that you do. You can have anything you want, but you need to do these things first. So I kind of had that
Should that
in the back.
be earned?
Yeah,
Because it
I
should
had
be a
that in the
given,
back of
isn't
my
it?
head. It should be a given, but also my parents had me when they were 18 and 19 years old, so they were doing the best that they could from the perspective that they had at that time. And I'm going to be over here now, as a parent. I'm 46 years old. I have, kids. And what I realized is that there is no such thing as a perfect parent. Everybody's doing their best with what they have at that time. If they're not doing better, it's because they don't know better. And it's weird to me to think about my parents now. When I had the biggest complaints about my parents, they were like 32, 33 years old. And who was I to complain about that? Like, I wasn't any wiser than them when I was in my 40s, early 40s. So, but I did go up with that idea that, I did, unfortunately, these things, they have a tendency to kind of grow through the generations, right? And I had a very hardworking and a slightly avoidant mother. And I learned to rely on myself with my emotions. I ended up being a very avoidant adult. Uh, and I pretty much learned that if I put focus on someone else, then and nobody looked at me, I couldn't really be rejected, right? So I put a lot of focus on other people, thinking that if I just put focus on them and nobody would look at me and my imperfections. And then came parenting. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, now I have to nail parenting, right? And I put a lot of, especially with my youngest, she's 10 years old now, I put a lot of stress on myself, trying to be everything I could be for her because I didn't feel like I nailed it with my first one. She's now 23 years old. And there's a lot going on there on that end. We're a very neurodiverse family. And I have a lot of, I think, guilt, avoiding guilt, because I didn't know any better. So I was just kind of doing, what my mother was doing. I didn't think about it. And now, in my 40s, I feel like I have a lot of catching up to do. Like I have to be super available to people. I have to be there for people in a way that my mother wasn't there for me, and maybe the way I wasn't there for my oldest daughter when she was little. And I think I burned myself out trying. I had no idea how to be emotionally available. I had zero clue. And perfection to me was being the perfect mother who is available, but also has it all together.
Mhm.
I don't really know how to
Wow.
cut that short. It's a
That's
long
kinda
story.
like a high bar. Mhm.
It is. I think I grew up thinking that nothing was impossible, right? Because if they could do it, I could do it. But
Right.
it wasn't as easy. It didn't come that easy for me. Just because they
So that
couldn't
was
do
your
it, I
drive.
couldn't.
That was your drive.
I think my entire life I was looking for my mother's approval, and then she died, 13 years ago, and I was forced to confront these feelings because she would no longer be able to give me that approval.
So we need a
I
drive to actually want to there a reason. We need a reason to want to better ourselves, right? Because if if everything is nice and rosy, if everything is perfect in your life, it is a given, right? Then what
yeah,
makes you want to be better? Because then
that's a
you
good one.
just, like I actually listened to that YouTube video. This was the first time I listened to it. I just wanted to um put Jojo Gabor there in my post. And and then in there she said, I don't know which husband of hers gave everything to her, and that made her lazy.
Ah,
So if I think of there, I know some people that they had, let's put it this way, that ideal life, ideal childhoods growing up, and then someone told me that I'm going to do better than you do, than you can, and it hurt me because I did first of all I didn't expect it from her, and then
yeah,
second is I always thought I did my best to better my life. And then she had it all, what I didn't have. And I thought that she would be more, I don't know, understanding, empathetic towards me. And instead, she came at me and she was like looking down on me. And so, I mean, I'm not saying that everybody is like that who has a good childhood. I don't know how people turn out, but that for me, there was always a drive to get my situation better, to get my life better.
uh,
And then it was also for seeking for approval from my grandmother, and because for some reason I didn't have that, and I wanted it. I wanted to be a part of of the group, an
yeah.
insider. So yes, I see. Like you have something to say.
Well,
What is
yeah,
it?
I mean, wanting to be an insider, I think that a lot of us have had that, and a lot of us have felt that we're outsiders. And actually, if we were to talk to others in the insider group, they might think we're insiders and think they're outsiders. That's happened to me a lot.
Yeah.
People have told me that I consider myself a fringe character on the periphery of history as it unfolds, and that I'm observing the passing show all the time, just watching people go by. I'm like that guy in Grand Hotel. Have you ever seen that movie? It's an old
No,
movie,
no.
but at the beginning of it, John Barrymore, Greta Garbo, great film. At the beginning of it, there's a guy at the desk, and he's out there at the end, and he says, "Grand Hotel, people come, people go, nothing ever happens."
Okay.
I feel like that, right? I'm listening to you all and talking about the expectations that others have put on you or that you've taken on board and believe have been put upon you. And I believe that if you feel that, that's truth, right? So I think that's really important to say. And then there's this thing about if I step outside of myself, is it really true? That people have put expectations on me, but that's their problem. If somebody's got a problem with me and acquaints me with it, I can fix it, maybe, or I can address it if it has substance.
Yeah.
But if they don't, guess who has the problem? Another person. I'm going along, skipping along, totally oblivious to the fact, and my wife will tell you how oblivious I can be to the needs of others, right? I try not to be. I try to be attentive, but a lot of times I just miss it completely. And it's not because I'm a bad person, it's because I'm human. I'm a primate. I'm one primate among 8.25 billion primates running around this planet, doing the best I can with what I have. In society, now I have a group that I haven't seen in a while. I should probably try to look them up. It meets on Thursdays. Bunch of old guys for the most part. Some women can be involved as well, but mostly it's guys for some reason or another. One of our leader basically is a ex-Navy captain who's one of the top-ranked psychiatrists in the country. And we call this outfit Civilization Anonymous, with the idea that we are like Cro-Magnon man trying to navigate civilization is trying to kill us. And all the projections have been put upon us, all of the achievements we've made that just still aren't enough. And I'm talking about ex-senators that are part of this group. And I don't know why I'm there, except that Ron says I'm one of the smartest guys he's met, and he just loves listening to me. Yeah, where I'm just like this random character that's been thrown into the mix. And I don't know. I don't feel like I belong there. I feel like an outsider. I don't really want to be an insider, to tell you the truth. Or I say that, and maybe that's just sour grapes. You're familiar with sour grapes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just know how things seem to me, and I could be wrong. That's like a mantra for me. I don't know. I just know how it seems to me, and I could be wrong. Maybe I ought to suspend judgment. Maybe I ought to step back and have a little compassion for myself. And the fact that I was thrown into this world too. Are you familiar with Heidegger? And we talk about that a lot. And Geworfenheit, if you're familiar with the German language at all, that we're thrown into this world as infants. We're helpless. And when they care these other primates who are very young, in Patricia's case, in my case, my father was 30, my mother was 23. They're not really equipped to deal with this little squalling kid. And eventually, you grow up and things happen and you get your scars. And what Ron says in a talk he gives, this is the psychiatrist I was talking about. He says, life will hurt you. You might want to write that down. But we got to learn how to take care of our boo-boos. And that's a lot of what it's about. Anyway, I'll stop there because I could go on and often do.
You said something interesting about expectations, though, and other people's expectations, because I think that people around us also have a responsibility to communicate their expectations and what they want from us. Because how can we know how to live up to anyone's anything if we don't know where it's at, right? And it kind of ties into boundaries as well, because we were talking about boundaries a little bit. You wrote a post about boundaries, right? Yeah, and I'm working on one right now, which is that, a lot of the time, what other people expect from you will not fall within your boundaries. And what are boundaries to you? Because I know a lot of people think that boundaries is about other people, and it's really just about yourself, right? There's a delicate balance. Sorry, there's a delicate balance between control and boundaries, right? If you make it about other people's behavior, you're trying to control the outcome of their behavior, right? So when you set a boundary, you put, your expectations in a frame where you want things to be. And if things aren't within that frame that you communicated and other people don't want to adjust to that, you can exit that situation. Sometimes, not all the time, I have learned.
Yeah.
It becomes harder with family. It's significantly harder with family. And I know that because I have a 23-year-old daughter. She has borderline personality disorder. We have been through a lot with her. I talked to her before I came live today because I knew this was kind of going to come up because it comes up in the article as well. which is I had to learn. Well, I had to learn a lot about BPD, obviously, for starters. But then I also had to learn, when do you set a boundary? When do you walk away? When do you get sucked into things? And when is it time to create distance? And that's, where kind of perfectionist comes in again, right? Because as a mother, you want to be there for your kids. So, if your kid calls you at 2:00 in the morning because she needs to be peeled off a bridge, and the only thing you know about it is that there are train tracks under the bridge. She's high as a kite. You don't know which bridge. So, yeah, you're going to call the police department and you're going to send officers to every bridge in town that has train tracks underneath it, right? And they did. And they peeled her off the bridge before she went on the tracks. We have had situations like that. It's been 6 years. She's clean. She's sober. Doesn't have any drug issues or any issues like that. But she still has the emotional stuff. And she can call me all hours of the day. And we have talked about, you and I have talked a lot about stress and, health issues and what that can lead to. And there are definitely periods of time when I had to tell her, like, hi, it's time to talk to somebody else because I can't be the secret therapist, Like, I can't be that part. I can be mother. I can be friend when you want to talk about boys, but I can't be the therapist. Because I have my own life going and I have my own things to come up. And there was a time when every time she called me, I would pick up that phone because I wanted to be available because I was used to not being, emotionally available or always there all the time. And I had all that avoiding guilt. And I was trying to turn that around and be more emotionally available. And that meant pick up the phone every time she calls. And I realized she needs me 8 hours a day, every single day. And I can't do that. And
Physically can't do it.
I can't do it, period. Because there's always something, and we talk about this, and I said it, this is going to come up, this is going to come up on Substack, and she said, that's fine, because we need to talk about difficult things, and difficult things is that I can't be available 8 hours a day for somebody else's things that they have going on, which is the most important thing in the world to them. But to me, it's a service, and that's just how it is, and I have to be able to say that. And this is where I had to learn how to set boundaries and be like, I can be there for you, but I can't be there all the time. And sometimes I have my own things going on, and I can't be a healthy, good mother that takes your 2 a.m. phone call if I don't take care of myself first.
Exactly, yeah.
If I run out of capacity and I get sick or I die because I get a heart attack, there is no mother to take up that phone call at 2:00 in the morning when you're hanging off the bridge.
Yeah.
So that sometimes means she gets blocked for a month, and because that's just life. And she comes back around and she understands that. And it's sad. It's sad as fuck. But the reality is, not everybody comes into this world or grows up in this world as the perfect human beings that we want them to be. Not parents, not children. And we have to make shit work, but we have to make things work in such a way that we don't sacrifice ourselves in the process. And I have had to find that balance because I was so sick a year and a half ago. My stomach issues was so bad. I called CPS on myself and said, I can't parent right now. I had to send my child off, my child for 6 months so that I could regulate my nervous system and heal my stomach. No mother wants to do that. And I had to do that because I knew that if I don't regulate my nervous system and I don't get my health back, then I can't be that mother that she needs me to be. Who wants a mother that is in pain in bed? Who, pops in a lasagna in the oven, a frozen dinner, instead of cooking food from scratch, which I always did. And I didn't have the capacity to cook dinner. I didn't have the capacity to not take a 2-hour nap in the middle of the day. And I had to learn how to take care of myself and put myself first the hard way. Really the hard way. I cut everybody off for 6 months, did not talk to anybody, did not talk to my kids, did not talk to my family, my friends. It took 4 months and my stomach healed. I had issues with my stomach for 2 years. They healed in 4 months. 4 months because I dropped everything. And that's a hard boundary to drop, but sometimes we have to for ourselves and for other people because we can't be there for anybody if we're not, there for ourselves first.
Yeah.
So self-care, holy shit, like I cannot stomp that one down like hard enough. You have to take care of yourself always. Look after yourself and everybody else will be happier, hopefully, right?
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah.
But it is not always up to one. It's not only up to us.
Yeah, but that's on them. Fuck, sorry,
Yeah,
but fuck that, right? If you do your best and you're nailing it and you're happy with your contribution and your efforts, and people are still not happy with you, some people are happy with you. I've come across those people too. You can bet yourself on backwards. They're still gonna find something wrong with you.
Right. And that was to my point about if somebody's got a problem, guess who's got the problem, right?
Mhm.
If they acquaint me with it and I've got something I can do about it,
It's their
fine.
problem.
But I keep my life pretty simple that way, and I've stripped it down, and I do set boundaries with people. And when they cross them, they find out they crossed them by basically, I am not there anymore. And as I treat them as vapor, and they treat me as though I'm vapor, and it's fine. And I can have a happy, peaceful, contented life. If they ever want to come back into my life, I keep the door open, as long as they're not like, physically violent or something. People are people. They make mistakes. They are dealing with their own stuff, and most often it's not even about me. Believe it or not, it's not about me,
It's
and
about
that can
them.
be really galling, right? It ought to be about me because I'm so important to me, and I'm not important to them. Anyway, I find it funny when I let myself find it funny. And what I'm hearing is a lot of pain there, though, and I understand that. I'm glad you took means to protect yourself in that relationship. And when it's with a child, I have a girlfriend whose daughter has totally ghosted her, and it kills her to some extent. And I don't know if it's fair. I don't know if it's right. I just know what it is. And it's none of my business either. Never has been. The child wanted to come back into my life when the marriage that had come after me floundered, and so I did get reconnected. But after that, it was like I realized, there's nothing I can do. I can certainly be supportive to my friend who was a girlfriend at one time, but I can't really help in any other way. I can't intervene. I can't do anything about what the child does. I was a
Yeah.
child, as well, and I think that's important to see. My parents did the best they could with what they had. They made a lot of mistakes. They were stayed together. And in spite of that, still, there was a lot of suffering, and there is a lot of suffering in the world. You remember that part where I talked about life will hurt you, but you learn how to deal your boo-boos, and a lot of times, the negative things that happen to us are such gifts.
Yep.
I wanna stress that, and I'll stop.
Yeah.
So I just wrote down a few minutes ago inside expectations and outside expectations. So that is
Oh
two
yeah.
ways to look at things. So if I think of perfection, I had an image or in my head about what perfect is in different scenarios. So
Yeah.
what would a perfect family look like? What is a perfect house look? What does it look like? What does a perfect woman look like? What does how does perfectly set table look like? Um, what is a perfect mother-in-law?
Yeah.
So there depends on what we are talking about. It can be all different, and it is all different if think about who is thinking this. Who is so like my image of these things is different than what would be for you or for you.
Well, we
So
need something to model it after as well.
hmm?
We need something to model it after as well, right?
Yes,
Like
and then there is the
where do we get
outside.
the idea of where do we get the idea of what a perfect anything is?
So And then there is the outside expectation that that what others want us to become. So what they expect
Yeah.
us to become. So, for example, that's where the traditions come in. Where your
Oh
grandma
God.
and then your aunts and everybody is showing you that this is the way to go, this is the way of life, this is how you're supposed to go. And then if you go
Yeah.
off track, if you follow in the footsteps, if you follow, hierarchy, if you follow the guidance that you're getting, though
Right.
that passive aggressive shit that is being passed down to us, which is, it can be, or in times, I don't know, in old ages, that it must have been lifesaver to be who you were expected to be, to in a team do your part for survival, and then someone else will do their part, and then all together you're going to succeed in living. But then if you
Yeah.
think about it, um, the with individualism, I think, comes the importance of self-expression and wanting to go off track. And
Yeah.
saying off track is not necessarily as in a negative sense, but and then I think of those people, of those women, the trailblazers,
Funny you mentioned
the
that.
who became doctors, who became the women that they never
It's
married.
funny you mentioned that. It's funny you mentioned that because I actually started out kind of because I wanted something as a child that I didn't think my mother could give, right? So what my parents value, I didn't by default value as well. I was after the more emotional parts, right? Because I was an only child and I had a pretty good childhood. I wasn't missing anything. I was told that if I just did this and this and that, I could have anything I wanted. And I didn't care for it. So I ended up throwing it away.
Mess it up a little
Only,
bit, yeah.
only to later on, it kind of ended up coming full circle anyway, later on in life, right? Um, I had that thought in mind and it kind of just went, there comes my ADHD again, just going like, you had a thought. You no longer have a thought.
Because
Let me
that's the
come back to
person I
that.
see that on
I,
on
I had
purpose.
a whole train of thought, and the train just went. It just derailed. So go on about something else. It will come back to me. I was going somewhere with it, and it kind of went off on its own. But funny enough, I was gonna say it came. It ended up coming full circle because the things that I didn't get as a child, I ended up trying to kind of give everybody else instead, right? And then hoping it would kind of just like come back my way or something, right?
Like treat
Uh,
others the way you want to be treated, no?
yeah, because I didn't value the other shit. But funny enough, to get my mom's approval, eventually I had to do all the other shit, right? So eventually, when she passed, I ended up kind of becoming her in a way that was kind of hilarious to me once I realized that I was like, oh God, I'm becoming my mom. No child that did not get along with her mom wants to become her mother. And I'm like, oh God, I'm getting hysterical. I'm getting slightly delusional. I'm perfectionistic. I'm a control freak. I have officially turned into my mother. Something's wrong. I need to start loving myself or I'm going to get on everybody's nerves. So in a way, things did come full circle. I noticed that when I started parenting my youngest, I was going about it like I tightened myself up so hard. I stitched myself up so tight in being a perfectionist. And eventually I was like, yeah, I have become my mom. But I learned that, I kind of got a little bit of both worlds after a while, right? I still don't value the things that they value, but I value them more now. I see the point. I see what they were trying to
Just
teach
now,
me.
that
They were
there's
just trying to, they were just wanting the best for me, I'm pretty sure. And I just wasn't interested.
there is a saying that I heard when I was growing up, and I don't know how to translate it the best way, but it says it basically says that that when there is a child, that child can only be after and the parents cannot be after the postman or mailman, right? So you are going to eventually end up to be in one way or another to be like your relatives because it is not only what you see, um, how they behave, or what is passed down through traditions, or
Yeah.
what you follow or you don't, but it is
But
also in your body, in your cells.
uh,
That yes,
you trying to
yes,
say something? Okay.
he wants to say something. Yeah.
I would like to, yeah. The apple falls not far from the tree is the
Yes.
phrase in American. That means the
Mhm.
same thing, more or less. When we talk about the postman, we're usually making an insinuation about the parentage of the child. Maybe not being, it's usually the milkman. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
let me get back to one thing that you've been saying a lot about expectation. We have a phrase in my tribe that expectation is premeditated resentment. Let that
Okay.
sink in. Let that sink in.
Yes,
Hmm.
that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, but then you still have to have some expectations because you have to. That is with another word or other
Well, if
way
I
of
may,
thinking about it is goals
if I
and
may,
ideals.
if I may.
Yeah, sorry.
That is true. However, if you know that a disappointed expectation is an invitation to making yourself miserable, you're less likely to make yourself miserable for not being able to attain the ideal. And nobody can attain the ideal. One of my big problems in relationships has been I usually pick women who have very high standards that I cannot meet.
Mhm.
Right.
Which I think I can when I start out, but I can't. And I'm wrong, and I get my rear end handed to me. And then I'm sulking, and I'm so sad, and I'm so tragic, and I need to commit suicide over this failed relationship when nothing like that is true. It's just I got a boo-boo. I stubbed my toe. And I'm lucky to have good friends who can usually set me straight when I get into an emotional crash. But you know what I've learned is my moods and my emotions are not me. I'm that which observes I have them. So that can be dangerous if you detach too much from your emotions. You should experience them, but recognize that it's not the end of the world until it is the end of the world. And at the end of the movie, everybody dies. So am I going to enjoy this life or am I going to spend my time trying to parse all of this
Yeah.
societal expectation? And women have it bad, in my view. I think that the expectations on women are way far beyond anything that any guy I know ever goes through. And it's horrible and it's unfair. And I hope that society changes. And we have been changing. But when you look historically, you haven't had the opportunity to change in a long time. They didn't even give women the vote until the 1920s over here. It's crazy. And so the fact that that's the case means that, to my mind, that it's no surprise that people are having a hard time navigating this stuff, navigating civilization. It's trying to kill us. That's all I got.
I mean, you were talking about voting, um, but when it comes to perfectionism, and when it comes to women, people talk about women having a lot on their plate and how they used to not have a lot on their plate, and that's a lie. That is a lie because women, not everybody was born with a silver spoon in their mouth. And 200 years ago, women were going to work and they were having babies, and
Well,
they
exactly.
were
That's
not
my
just
point.
they were not just sitting with their fancy dollhouses at home while the man went to work. That depended entirely on what kind of class you came from. If you were working class, your ass wasn't work. Your ass was
Even
working.
if
Your
you
children
weren't,
were working too with you.
yeah, even
Say
if you
what?
weren't, you still had those problems. Look at Jane Austen. I mean, just if you just watch a Jane Austen movie, you can see how bad women had it.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons I don't romanticize the Victorian era. People are like, oh, so romantic. And I'm like, yeah, children working with their mothers 16 hours a day for food in the poorhouse.
And
It's really
child
romantic.
mortality and mother
Oh, yeah.
mortality,
Yeah.
death in childbirth. Oh my God, and that's why we had 1.7 billion people in 1901 on this planet, and we now have 8.25 billion.
People started washing their hands.
Anyway,
Um,
I better
reading
wrap.
reading Martina's post, I actually was
Sorry.
down here that perfection can be an encouragement or a drive to get perfect, to get better in wanting to better yourself to your goal, whatever it is. And then even if you don't reach your goal, but you reach higher than you would normally do, and therefore you're getting better, and then you are getting good enough,
I get where
then
it's going, but the
then there is the
default
other
is
part of it. There is an then when it has that when you are you know for a fact that you won't be able to fit in that mold, and then you are not going to ever become a Barbie. You will never, be look in a certain way or think in a certain way. And then so if people expect that from you, then you are a failure and then it is a negative thing. But then it's not you who is a failure, it's their expectations that they are incorrect.
yeah.
That's just one thing. But then there was another thing that you said, and that also went out of
Uh,
my mind. Like, do you remember what you wanted to say, Patricia?
I was just saying, perfection is by default. You're never gonna get there because that's kind of what the word is, right? I said if it's perfectionist, by default, you're not gonna get there.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you are trying to make better yourself, right? And then what it
Yeah.
means that can be it's always a subjective thing depending on what environment you are thinking of, or if you are gonna be a better, I don't know, person at work or in
I think
your
if you
environment, a better mother or what, and then so uh, depending on those, um, if you
kind
can
of
better
have to,
yourself,
yeah,
I
I know
think
where you go with it. I reframe that. I don't think of it as perfectionism as much anymore. I think of it as setting goals and achieving my goals. And as soon as the goal is set, it's set. I did it. It didn't have to be perfect. You can still set goals and achieve your goals without being a perfectionist. The only difference is when to stop, right?
right. When you are enough, when you think that
Say
you
what?
are enough, but then you
Yeah.
stop when you feel that you are enough. So I'm like, yeah, like I'm when you feel self satisfaction, when you feel that I am happy with the person I am, because it's not
Yeah.
because I am that, I don't know, what is it called, self absorbed, or what is another word for that? I don't know. It's not because I'm so full of myself. I am just, I know that I will never have I don't know how expensive car, or I will not have I don't know how many $1 million house. And I am fine with it because I know what is enough for me. And that is not in my value system. It
Yeah.
is
Well,
not what I
define
actually want. So
define
I am
exactly.
okay with what I
Define what
have.
perfect is.
What?
Define what perfect is. Define what perfect is to you. Perfect isn't always,
Perfect is a range, and it depends. It's a range. It's not a set point. It is a range of things. Now, if you go to the store
yeah,
and you want to paint your room, and you are thinking of colors, and then you will just go in front of. I mean, it depends on the light. Like, and then you
yeah,
see, oh, this color, this is perfect for that room. Or you go into dress shopping, and then you put a dress on, and then despite your body shape, your hair color or eye color or whatever, uh, or you're going to think that, oh well, this is not good, but then the other one you're going to try and it is perfect. You say it's perfect because it's perfect for one reason, for one occasion, for one idea. So perfect does exist, but it is all different things in different um,
yeah,
situations. And
yeah.
I what I well, yeah, so I put something down here, and maybe it is worth mentioning. It's like one of my earlier thoughts about it when I was thinking about the question is contentment is the word. Yes, thanks, Adrian.
Yes, that was where I was
So
going to go to.
yeah, I put down here that so expectation changes constantly, and then it is the reason of different kind of effects that the environments have on us, and then we and for that also there we get to the point when we accept the imperfections, when we realize that there is beauty in the diversity and the differences in the imperfections. So like Martina um, titled her post, what is the exact title? Help me out, Martina, please. The perfect imperfect or something like that. What was it?
Yeah, imperfectly perfect, right?
Imperfectly perfect, yes. So like perfect for the imperfections, like, or because, especially because of those imperfections, that to see the beauty in the faults or in the mistakes. Yeah, perfectly imperfect. Yes, thank you. So then I also was thinking, as an example, was the new dress. And then so that can be exciting to be perfect, to look perfect for an occasion, for someone, for yourself, maybe, and to have a beautifully set table, maybe even just for yourself, for one, and because you deserve that candlelight and that white, the tablecloth, and you deserve the best that you can actually get for yourself. So um, that is what I thought of perfection. So, and then the funny thing is that we actually all come to the point of thank you, Hal, that we all value ourselves and put ourselves first, and that is what perfection should be: the self acceptance or contentment, as Adrian put it, or what you wanted to say, Hal. I think so.
My no, I was just gonna go on, continue.
No, I was thinking that because it is 2:56 here.
Oh yeah.
So to go through quickly the comments here and reflect on those. Um, and if anybody has anything that you know, we should mention about.
Kindness. I mean, I think that one of the things, loving kindness, a spirit of loving kindness that dwells within us for ourselves. We need to find that, I feel.
Mhm,
Because it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, we all have the societal expectations crushing down on us, and familial relations. In this Thanksgiving, people are going to be getting together with people who, for one reason or another, have lots of expectations. But if you know that they're premeditated resentments, you can let other people have their expectations, and you can know whether or not where you measure up on the scale, and it's not so dramatic. It doesn't have to always be a trauma. It
Yeah.
can actually just be life as it happens. And one of the things people ask about me, when they ask me how I am, I say, I'm breathing. I'm vertical with vital signs. And after that, then I've got an opportunity to move out from there. I am being in the moment. I am, and my past isn't burdening me, and my future isn't threatening me. And I can actually be peaceful and contented. I love what Adrian said about contentment. That's all I got.
mhm. Thank you. Uh, so Martina said, thoughts about perfection get different when you get older. I said, I agree.
Yeah.
Um, and then she agreed with Patricia. I mean, I saw these comments before. It's just there is no manual for parents about having the perfect child. We just have the role model of our parents. The thing is that we it's like a lottery. It's, it's like, I think, as you don't know what you're getting as you become a parent, and I am lucky um, with my kid, and I don't know how lucky my parents or my grandmother probably didn't feel that very lucky with me to have as a
Yeah.
child, but because I felt like a threat sometimes, I think, um, because the way I come forward sometimes, because I stand up uh, for myself,
Yeah.
but that is also kind of a survival thing. for me, because if I feel that nobody is going to stand up for me, I don't have the support system that I should, then I have to gather all my strength and go for it by myself. Otherwise, I'm going to be crushed. So this is like sort of on a jerk reaction in situations. So and then also it's like anger can be and frustration can equal energy and force, in my understanding, to get ahead, get out of. So, like I said that before, and that it's fine to be in a gutter. It's fine to be at your lowest point of your life, as long as you are wanting to get out of it, and you have to get out of it. So, what takes you out from there doesn't matter. If it's anger, then be it anger. If it is frustration, then that be it. But as soon as you have to get out of it. So there must be an energy, a drive that takes you out of a bad situation. And so I don't, I think that can be useful for reaching your goal.
Is there such a thing? Because I was just thinking about, I'm sidetracking now.
That's okay.
By the way, I've been sitting on my foot in case you're wondering why I'm squirming after an hour. Because if I actually sit on the chair, you're gonna.
What were you saying?
No, because I had a question before y'all run off on me. God damn it. Internal versus external expectations. If you remove all the external expectations, what do you actually have left? And before you answer that, think about where your internal ones come from. Is there even such a thing as an internal expectation, except the most basic stuff?
Like animals, right? Yeah, like instincts.
Yeah, because exactly. And that's where I'm going at. Like, when you want to wake up, you want to survive, you want to sleep well, you don't want to be in pain, you want to eat. But everything else, is it really an external expectation? Because you could be like, oh, I want this and I want it for myself, but who taught you that? And who told you to want that?
Yeah.
And what are they
That's why I love
doing?
social gamble, because
Listening to, and who's above them, and who decided that? We could all be so much more fucking relaxed if we wanted to. Probably.
That's my point. That's the point I've been making. If throughout this whole thing, we could be a lot more relaxed about things.
Yeah.
And I was really curious about this wanting to be better. Why?
Mhm.
Yeah. Better? What's
Why?
better?
Why?
Permission up. Who decided?
I'm perfectly content as I am right now. My wife may not be content with me as I am, and that tends to drive me. That's an external force. And it works
Tweak
well.
it a
Our
little bit.
marriage does. Now we wanted to have kids and we weren't able to. She's had a
Uh,
stroke. She's half paralyzed on her left
yeah.
side for life at 42 years old. It's a hell of a thing to happen. But I just
Fuck
said we're
yeah.
gonna three-legged race through life now. And it's our new normal was my first thing that I said to her when we realized what was happening. And it was tragic, sure. But it's also about a silver lining, and it is my world, right? It is the world that I've been
Yeah.
given, and it's been a gift. There's a book called The Gift by Lewis Hyde. I'd highly recommend you all look at it. And that's my gift to you from this talk. I got to cut out. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for having
Thank
me.
you very much
Yeah,
for
we're on
joining
our
as
own.
well. Thank you. Bye. Okay. So let's go quickly through the rest of the comments. If did I cut you off? No.
What?
Okay. So
No, he ran, right?
hmm?
Yeah, go on.
Adrian said there is no manual for parents about having the perfect child. We just have the role model and of our parents. And then Martina said the perfect child doesn't exist. Luckily, just we are not the perfect parents. We do the best we possibly can. Perfect for me means to be effective and able to perform the allotted task. That's Adrian. And then seeking for
Where did the
approval is so
perfect child
tiring.
thing come in from?
What?
Where did the perfect child thing come in
That's
as
what I
a
said. It's a lottery.
like
The perfect
this?
child is whatever you got is the perfect child, in my understanding. Because it's like you
Thought
have to
about what a
accept it that
perfect
this is, as a, I think, what?
what?
You
I,
have to,
I thought of the
don't
concept
cover
of a
your mouth
perfect
and,
child.
what?
No, I never even thought of the concept of a perfect child. A perfect parent, maybe, but not a perfect child.
What I say is like, if, hmm, as a parent, that,
Uh-huh.
for me, my child is going to be perfect the way she is. And then it reminds me of the movie, the Bridget Jones' Diary, that just the way you are. Remember Mr. Darcy was saying that to Bridget Jones,
Oh,
that
I can't remember.
I don't know, I like you very much or something, and then just the way you are something, and then they keep that they gossip about it amongst themselves, and later it goes back and Mr. Darcy hears it, Mark Darcy. Anyway, so to me, my child is perfect just the way she is, and it doesn't mean that I cannot, get angry at her or frustrated about things, or I won't say that, and then now you go, you do this or do that. Um,
Uh,
it, but because I accept her the way she is, she is perfect the way she is for me. As I'm not
well,
going to necessarily pick
I hope that's the way it always is.
what.
I hope that's the way it always is.
I
I,
hope
I mean,
I
I,
hope
I
so.
mean,
But
I,
I mean,
I
probably
know
not
it's
with all.
not, but
Probably not with all people.
yeah.
So okay, then later here, um, I said communicate and pass down knowledge, and then Adrian said the boundary is what I set for myself. That's a good point. Work sets boundaries for us too. And then Adrian said parents should not set boundaries for children when they become adults. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, then
you have to, yeah, you have
let them
to,
learn from
you
their
have
own
to,
examples or their own mistakes, right?
you
That's
have
a,
to set, but you those you
you're
set.
supposed to be,
It's
of
not,
course.
it's not for the children though. It's you set boundaries for yourself.
Yeah, well, I think with the kids, then you show how you live, and with that kind of you are a role model in a sense. You have to keep it in mind because the kids are gonna copy us. We copied
Yeah.
our parents. I found myself in a situation where I was like, this is exactly like when I was growing up. And it's not necessarily a good thing. And so you have to be mindful about um, how you live your life, because you are setting an example for your kids, and they might follow in your footsteps. Then they might not, but they might. And
Yeah.
so
What I'm.
that is, they
Yeah.
have their thoughts and free will, and they will go their own way, and that is how it should
Uh,
be. So we cannot hold them, like,
if I,
we cannot.
yeah, but if I misbehaved, I would expect my father to set boundaries, his own personal boundaries with me. And we had the whole thing about like you don't set boundaries because when your children are adults, that depends on the child and what kind of, you know, dynamic you're dealing with a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. I mean, if there is listen, like my dad.
What it that I can't see it. I can't hear you.
Yeah. Um,
What?
see that Adrian said, I have 4 adult children who, despite my divorce, still are able to tell me that they love me. Does that mean they are perfect? Nobody's perfect. Um, and
Well,
she says it does mean that you have done a good job with your children. Where was I getting at? Because it's just like disrupted my train of thought. Yeah, my dad, so he was not perfect. He was far from perfect, like from a perfect father, from a perfect human being. Um,
Yeah.
it didn't make him unlovable, and then at the same time, or invaluable. He was a valuable person at his own rights. But the thing is that people tried to he was an adult, and people tried to put him in his place, or set him on the right track, or talk to him. And then
Yeah.
so it is also depends on the how, because if you can talk to an adult, and then they might take your point or consider your opinion, and then they are going to make up their minds, and they either do or they won't do what you're suggesting, because you cannot
Yeah.
tell them what to do. It's either they want to, or they don't want to. Now it seemed to me that approach is
Mm.
very important
Oh,
when
wait, are you talking about boundaries again, or what are you talking about?
Um, in a sense, it is boundary, because, an example, he
And that's
was trying, he had his own way of life, and it wasn't aligned with what others, including me, would have wanted, but that was
yeah,
his life. And you could tell him, but then the approach of telling, like if you told it in a way that was like non-offensive, not
yeah,
derogatory, or what is it called, or not, like telling off someone, like you have to do this now. Like, who are you to tell
that's
me
control.
what
No, that's not boundaries. That's
that
control.
won't? And so you know, he said no, or he didn't say anything, and he lived his life regardless the way he wanted to,
Yeah,
until
because
he
people
made up
know
his
it's
mind of like how he wanted to change things, and
yeah,
or why he wanted to change things. But there were people that they had with different approach had results with him. But the
yeah,
point was always that it's always the individual, it's always him, or always me, or always you, who is going to make the decision about her own life. You know, it's like you
and
can,
yeah, and you decide how you respond to that, and you decide how you respond, and how you
yes,
respond to that is where your boundaries are. They're personal boundaries.
yeah. But
Do you see what I mean by that? Because I know a lot of people get it confused, and they think that boundaries is about controlling another person's behavior, and it's not. It's about controlling your own. And once you realize that, you realize you have a lot of freedom to walk away from things that don't suit you.
so it's just
And
like the
you can,
kids
if you don't,
example
yeah,
in in my post, when I was saying that the kids, when like when they love saying no, like just thinking, imagine the kids, like one of the first words, like no, 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 and they do it, they smile at you, or laugh at you and say no, no,
yeah,
and they are going to do what they know that they shouldn't. They're gonna do it despite, and exactly, or maybe exactly because you said no. They will do, and they will push. They will push their boundaries. They're gonna, go where they know they shouldn't go. They will, you just say that don't touch it, and they will.
yeah,
And if they burn themselves, they learn from it. But that's how they learn. They push those boundaries, and then it is, if I think about it, not very different for us adults. We just forget
yeah,
that we need to push forward, instinctively, kind of, to learn new things.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know, and then for if it is for perfection or not, it's another question. Uh,
yeah,
Martina says they are like we all do at some point in life. So I missed a couple of comments here. Went down to see the most current ones. Um, everybody's model is different. Sadly, the world view, media view is vastly horrid. Yeah, now that is definitely setting expectations of like what telling people how they should maybe look like or behave like, or what they should, the advertisements, like, um get this cream, get that. I don't know. What is it in Sweden? Like the TV. I mean, I don't watch TV, but when I did, there's. I mean, I know that there's a lot of medicine advertisements. So, like for headache, for to lose body weight, to I don't know, control this, control that, medicine advertisement. But then, so you're supposed to be taking I don't know how many kind of medication for whatever reason. Um, but aging creams, like I mean creams too, like for the wrinkles
Nichols.
that you might have, or um, it is all setting like it is because you're supposed to be looking certain way. Who
Yeah.
says that? Who says that how you need to look? These companies that they are trying to sell you all that cream and all that product that you need. I don't know, uh, this coat or that bag or that diamond ring or whatever, because Christmas is coming up and that is going to make her so happy if she is going to get just that earring or that. I don't know what. I am fine without it. But so like they can tell me to go and buy I don't know what. I know that I have enough clothes in the closet. I can dress up, if so it doesn't bother me. So it is, yes, there's a bunch of outsider expectations, and an advertisement is pushing an image in your head most of the
It's
time.
not, yeah. And people are quick to jump on it, right? So, it's gonna come in from all sorts of places, I think, not just the TV.
Not just the TV. I mean,
Uh,
online as well. So it's not. I don't know. I mean, I don't really watch TV.
Online, holy shit! Online, you should hear my dad when he starts going about women and talking about. We talked about my dad, right? Like not in the live, but my dad has preferences. My dad was mom and dad, right? So my dad was like, "I can teach you how to blow dry your hair for volume. I was born to be a mom." That's my dad right there. Uh, and he did teach me how to comb my hair. But even I think this is just another thing, right? Like the things that I grew up with and didn't agree with, but then kind of fell into the trap anyway, is that my parents were extreme on appearances, extreme on appearances.
Mhm.
And my dad to this day is like, "You have dark under eye circles. Did you lose weight? You look better. You lost some weight. Oh, you gained weight? Your ass is getting big." My dad will be there. He is not ashamed. He will tell me my ass got big. He doesn't care. My mom wouldn't have said it. She would have just thought it in her head. But my
What came
dad,
to my
yeah, he
mind
was like,
now?
yeah.
That
What?
that what came to my mind now is that a few years ago, how like
Oh, God, my eyes.
shortly, hmm?
It's-
Shortly after I came here, and it wasn't the first time, but like let's put it like when was it? Like around 10 years ago. My daughter was little, and I went to the grocery store, and I saw these women, and uh, and then it is going to link into the question that we mentioned, we talked about with Martina before. So I saw these women, in the winter. There were big piles of snow outside in the parking lot, and it was cold, and they had what is it called? It's like some sort of an undergarment. I don't know. So anyhow, there was like a strappy shirt on. I would
yeah.
wear it underneath something, and then most of their stomach was out, pajama bottoms, and those Ugg boots or whatever, I don't know. But the pajama bottoms were like 2, 3 sizes longer or bigger than they needed, and they were long. And then they, walked in the snow with it, and then all that. wetness of the snow came up to the middle of their cuffs. So like, so first of all, pajamas are for your bedroom or your house, not for grocery stores. That's me. I don't know if it is because, I'm European or what, but there are certain standards. So you go out, you dress up. You don't need to dress up, into your Sunday best,
Yeah,
but,
you know, you find their expectations of perfectionism other people, right? Because maybe they're perfect in their minds and their pajama pants.
What?
No, I said that, yeah, but that's your ideal and
Yeah,
of what you.
I am not saying, I am not, I still notice people like that. I won't say a word, but I'm like, okay. And then I go on with my life. It's just, I, I would not ever do it. I will dress, at least put jeans and sneakers on and, a shirt and cover yourself and jacket and
It's okay. And I hope they don't care about that. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that you're okay to dress the way I would have gone to work the way my mother dressed up when she went to work. We laughed about that too, right? She was on the other end of the extreme.
you gotta know what is for what.
But she was happy doing it, and those people are happy walking in pajama
There are
pants.
pajama days in school. Our area says who wears pajamas. Like, these women in the grocery store, they go out and they wear pajamas. Women, they jump in their cars in their pajamas and drive their kids to school. And I wear pajamas at home, yes. And
And
um,
I
but
compare.
there are um there are some standards. I'm not saying, as I said, I'm not saying to dress into your Sunday best and put on makeups and stuff. But also that is like when I was at home, you know, um, young adult, and I went out, and I still, if I go home, and then it is a small town, 15,000 people. If I go home and you go out to the grocery store, and people they go out to the grocery store almost on a daily basis because that's the habit.
Yeah.
Fresh bread, fresh this, fresh that. And you go out, you're bound to meet with people who know you, who know who your mother, grandmother, great grandmother was, or your uncle, like your relations, you know
Yeah.
your whole life, everything about you. And they are going to, you know, like I was looking at that woman with her pajamas, I don't know, 10 years ago, and I still remember her. Um, they will remember if you don't live up to those expectations. So is it good? Is it not good? I am still, when I am home, I am still making sure that I look presentable when I get out the door, right? Because
Right.
I don't want to deal with the repercussions or or I don't want to listen to like someone, I don't want to bring shame to my family and because I would just not do it anyway. Anyhow, and then what it brings me to, that is what we were talking about with Martina, and we are 23 minutes after the hour, is
Yeah.
that how women either lift each other up or tear each other apart. Now, the question is like, what did I do? What did I just do with mentioning the woman who was wearing pajamas? Because my friend was sitting in her car and driving her son, who was late from the school bus to the school,
Yeah.
literally jumped into her car in her pajamas. So I understand why she did it, but there are people that they are simply too lazy, don't care, or they think it's their right. Okay, do it. That's their
But
Saturday.
they, yeah, the way I look at it is you don't exist to please anybody else's eyes. That's not your purpose in life. Their purpose, those people in the pajamas, their job was not to please you. Their job was just to put their fucking pajamas on and go to the store, and they're happy with that.
And they have to
And
deal with the wet pajama up in their coughs, right? That's
you
not
remember
me.
that, but I'm pretty sure they don't care that you remember it 10 years later. They're just doing their thing and they're happy. So, it's all about perspective, right?
Hmm.
Just mind your own business. I just the best thing you can do, right? Like the last thing we need is more people adding to the pressure that is already out there and already happening.
Right. So I understand that that is, I don't know, maybe they don't have clothes. That's why they put it on. Maybe they feel comfortable in them. That's why they put it
Maybe
on.
they don't give a
Maybe
fuck what
that's
you
how they
think.
are being taught in school because they are pajama days. And I told my daughter that, listen,
How
we're not going to
they?
wear
How,
pajamas.
are we
What?
talking about kids or adults? Are we talking about kids or adults?
Hmm?
Are we talking about kids or adults?
People. What I'm saying is that in school, when my daughter
Mm-hmm.
started going to school, there were days when they said that this is going to be a pajama day.
Yeah,
And
they have that in some places, right?
and I said to her that I don't care. You're not going to school in your pajamas. You are going to dress up. You are not, pajamas are for the house. And then she understands, and she doesn't. And I want to see what Adrian said. But I I am setting, you know, I am passing down to her uh, um, an expectation, a standard to which she needs to live up to. And then this is just
Mm,
one example. There are millions of
yeah,
other examples. Like there are work settings
people
for
do
which you
it. I don't
cannot
know
show
how
up to
people do
work in
it.
your pajamas unless you are working from home. Like during COVID, people they
So
dressed
you
up
don't
to waist, and then
your job in a pajama just because you did it in high school 1 day a week, right?
I think it has to do with it. Like if you're teaching kids
We
that
more
it's
than
okay.
I don't know where this is. We don't have that in Sweden, but when I went to school in Texas for a year, there was only like 1 day that was like wear your own shit.
But
It was
you
like
were
one pajama day, which was I think come as you are day. Another day was like Fridays were always high
my
school
point.
game stuff, right?
My point is that if you allow that to happen, you know,
I mean,
and
I
so
think
it's
it's
like you are
stretching
not,
it, but
it's
it's to
like
their
it
own.
is not, I don't know why, for the fun of it, why they do it. It's like, I don't like it. And then although they were saying that you don't have to
Yeah.
participate in it, you
Uh,
can,
mm-mm.
you don't have to participate in it. And then
No.
and then also in situations so like if you tell kids that they can do things as kids, that they might think that they can do, you are kind of preparing subconsciously your child
Yeah.
for life.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you say that it's okay to do that as a child, how are you setting an example? You're telling that you can do it as an adult. What?
It's usually, I think pajama day or come as you are day is 1 day a week, and I think you're parenting the other 6 days a week, setting a perfect example.
No, it's not. In my opinion, it is not right. I would not let her, and then
I
she
think it's nip. I mean, we're gonna have to disagree on that because I think it's nitpicking.
yeah, we can disagree on that.
Yeah.
But if it is not a pajama day, just another example, like there are certain work environments, and then Adrian said that work is also setting boundaries. I think that's what he said earlier. So you are not going to be able to get a job unless you present yourself in a certain way. So what does it mean? That means you need to have the knowledge, but knowledge itself is not going to be enough. You have to look in
Mm,
a certain way as well if you want a certain position, a job somewhere, So like, I don't know if you remember from during COVID how people were like working from home and they had these
yeah.
meetings, and they got caught somehow that they were, in their office attire up to the waist level, and then they were wearing their pajamas because it was
Top
comfy.
and
Now,
underwear and bottom.
yeah, so uh, I I don't do manual labor, so I do work on the computer as well. But
Yeah.
and then the work environment is IT, so like um the dress code was from day one is jeans is fine, and then whatever tops, whatever you want to wear, but just be presentable. So like in the summer I was wearing dresses, in the wintertime I would wear jeans and something on top, sweater, And then I was in the office by myself most of the time, so it didn't really matter. Once I started working from home, I started wearing joggers, and because I was not communicating face to face with people, but on the phone, and who knew what I was wearing anyway. So I had
Uh,
this relaxed work environment. I was still able to do my job. So,
uh,
um, but um, Adrian says, think of them as values rather than standards. Yeah. So I'm not saying that one thing is worse than the other, and then the circumstances are different for each people, right? So, um, but to me, who was growing up in a way I was growing up, and what was instilled in me,
yeah,
that is what is um, standard, normal,
yeah,
accepted. So there are things that they are in either way, up or down, not meeting that, are different, and I can understand the reasoning behind it. I might not follow them though. So,
yeah,
and that is kind of like it can be hard to be set in a way, you know. So, for example, thinking of hierarchy between women in, let's say, family settings, like my
yeah. Go
grandmother's
on,
way
go
of
on.
thinking.
Go brush it. Brush. Did you brush your teeth? Okay, I'll be right in.
Yeah, we've got half an hour longer.
Yeah, no,
That
she's just going to bed.
yeah.
She just
Um,
said good night.
Good night, girly. Um, so it's like the difference is that openness, and so once you are maybe that you are set, like you reach a certain age, you get set in your habits and your traditions and those values that you grow up with, and it's kind of
Mm,
hard to
yeah,
open up and see other people's perspective. And the fact when and that can be really
I
painful.
think you have to accept them first.
What?
I think you have to accept them first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, you don't have
you
to
have to
accept them as
agree.
your own. You don't have to accept them as your own. You just have to accept their existence. So, for example,
No. I said, to continue, you would have to accept them as your own, right? But if you don't accept them as your own, you can break the rules, right? Or you may
yeah,
do so.
definitely. If um, I think so. You can, yes. If you don't agree
Yeah,
with a certain thing, then you can do different.
yeah,
Um, and then if you agree, but like going back to the pajama thing, and going to the store in pajamas and stuff. Uh, it's like I accept that there are people that they are like that. So like now I don't even blink an eye, if I see someone like that. It's just never
yeah.
going to be my way, you know, because I prefer different. And then, but there are other situations when women can have different, I think one way and my grandmother or someone thinks another way. And then I don't agree with
Yeah.
it. And then I would expect them to see me for me. And it doesn't happen
Mhm.
because they cannot open up their, what is it called? Horizon.
Or do you think you
Wide enough.
transfer that onto other people?
What?
Do you think you transfer that onto other people?
Transfer that?
Mm-hmm. You're not living up to, well, you're not living up to somebody else's standards, but other people are not living up to yours. Do you think you're transferring that onto the pajama girls? Your own inability to live up to somebody's
No,
expectations.
I am not feeling unable to. accept them, they wanting to live their lives the way they
Yeah.
want to. Is just I
Okay.
don't necessarily go and be in. I'm not necessarily in the same circle as them because I think differently. So I probably surround myself with people who would think similarly to me. But then there are situations like when you are that you cannot choose. So like you choose your friends, but you cannot choose your family, and then you end up being in a situation where let's say your grandmother is not going to be able to see the value in your way of thinking
Mm.
because she is set into um, her own ways. It was a reminder. Did you hear it?
It was
Uh,
such your egg clock
it was like it's
for the egg timer.
no, it's not. It's anyway.
Harriet, put
So
the
that
vibrators
positions.
away.
It's not that I don't have to. She
Okay,
should
she didn't
be
hear that good. Go on.
she should be able to accept. You know, I would ideally like her to accept, my way of thinking and see me for who I am and for my successes or whatever.
Yeah.
But then she just can't. So she's still in my circle, uh, and um, and it is going to cause issues or friction or we just don't like disagreements, and then for that we don't necessarily want to be in each other's company because it is gonna somehow keep coming up, um, and that is uncomfortable. So there are, but with the woman with the pajamas, I might never. I don't know if I have met with her since. You know, it doesn't
My
bother
mom
me
would
if
have
she does
died.
wear pajamas or not. What?
My mom would have died on the spot if she saw that.
Yeah. So it's it, it's like it's judgment or not. Either you judge the people for it or not. Like you tear them apart. Like how do you
I
look
don't
like?
really care.
Come on,
I don't really
or
care.
you are going to support them, and then maybe they just need hey I don't know.
Neutral. You
You
can
are not
just
gonna
knock
go to a
it.
stranger to ask them if you have jeans. It's like, wait, because if you have a pair of jeans, maybe you should have worn those instead of these pajamas. You're not gonna say that to a stranger in the grocery store. But who knows? Maybe they don't have jeans, to wear.
I,
But
honestly, I'm too occupied with myself at the grocery store to give a shit about what everybody else is wearing. And I think most people operate that way. They're too busy with themselves. Maybe not women. I don't know. Maybe women stare each other down and they're like, I know my mom. I know my mom did. But she was a special creature in many
I mean, you
ways.
said that your mom went
My
down in
mom was
tunnels with
fucking
a.
hilarious. My mom was hilarious. She would go to work, and it would be one of those days when she had to go down the tunnels with a helmet, and she would be in her high heels and lipstick. She did not give a shit.
High heels and lipstick
Getting,
and suits and
getting
stuff, right?
electrocuted. Yeah, she got zapped once, and I just still have that image in my head of her wearing a helmet, a red lipstick, and high heels getting zapped at work. But yeah, that's my mom. Because the way I grew up was like, when you went to church, because Swedish people don't generally go to church, but if you're originally like Polish, a lot of Polish people go to church on Sundays, and my everybody always dressed up on Sundays, right? So it was always like, if you're gonna dress up one day a week, it's gonna be on the Sunday. My mom dressed like that every day. She didn't give a shit. It's just like, oh, you gotta take the trash out, put some red
What?
lipstick on. She she wouldn't take the trash out without her red lipstick on. That's my mom. I'm not
Well,
that
I
extreme,
don't wear
but I
lipstick.
do
I
think
don't
it's
even
so.
know if
I
I have
do.
one. But when I am at home, I am very mindful about how I look when I go out on the street because I never know who I meet, and then what they're gonna say, and you have to look a certain way. So it's yeah, I mean, anyhow, the whole point should have been to,
The
lift
shit,
each
I don't
other
give
up
a
instead
shit.
of tear each other apart. So like try to help wherever we can for each other to feel better in our own skin, uh, instead of, hit the other one on the head with a hammer, right? And then ruin their ever fragile self confidence further. So
Yeah.
you have to look a certain way. Who says that? As Martina. It's expectation says that. I know that because you know, um, if I don't, then eventually someone is going to say, "Hey, I saw your daughter going to the store, and she was doing this or that, or looked like this or that," and
Different
then she
because
would tell me
everybody
on the
has an
phone.
opinion. I think with kids it's a little different because everybody has an opinion of what your kid is wearing, and if they're not wearing the right thing, you're gonna get in trouble in other ways. So they gotta wear
There's a
the
lot of
proper
people.
clothing. If I sent my kid out to the store in the pajama, I would have a CPS report next week. Are you kidding me? You guys, that's a different thing. They're kids, they need to wear proper clothing, or it's a problem in other ways.
Hmm.
But adults, I mean, if I do my makeup and I dress up, it's gonna be because I'm putting myself on display, or it's gonna be because I really care about you. Going anywhere else where I don't give a shit, I just don't give a shit. I'm not a because a lot of people are like, women are trying
Why
to
though?
impress other women. And I'm like, I'm busy trying to impress myself. Like, I don't have energy to think about what other women think about me.
So after a while, though, it becomes habit. So you don't necessarily think about it, but you do it. You know.
Yeah. I cover up my under eye circles to not scare children and old people. I don't want them to prematurely die. That's it. When I go out,
It's like it's 3:45 here. We've been going for an hour and
I say that and I sit here with my newly painted nails. Anyway, yeah, it's been nice. It's 9:40, and
it's late.
if I don't keep my mouth shut soon, my kid's gonna come out here and join. So
Well, I'm always nervous about before these lives. And yesterday I was like, I am not sure if I can do this by myself. And I'm so happy that I didn't have to do it.
it's another scary, heavy topic.
Yes,
A little bit.
it is awesome to talk to you and it was nice to talk to Hal, and thank you very much for the support and for everybody who showed up and commented or just listened to what we were talking about. I highly recommend to read Martina's post, and there will be one more. I don't know. Is it gonna happen today, Patricia? It's
You
quite
know,
late there.
I have to go to bed. It's 10 o'clock almost. I need to go to bed. I have to get up
Maybe
at six
tomorrow
thirty.
you're
Yeah,
gonna
I'll do
post
it tomorrow.
yours, yes.
Yeah,
And so
good
again, thank you
time.
everybody for joining in. And
Yeah,
Martina says thank you for everybody for stopping by, and for the comments, Adrian, and for you, Patricia. I hope I'm so
yeah,
happy. You look good. I hope you're gonna continue being well.
yeah.
And
My outside is compensating for the destruction that's happening on the inside. No, I'm better. I'm good. I'm back to original settings, I think. Give it another 2 days, I might be dying again.
I hope
No, I should be okay now. I should be okay now.
so.
So,
That's good. So go and get your beauty sleep,
yeah,
and no, not beauty, but just your sleep and sleep out. And everybody, thank you so much again. And then have no clue what we're gonna talk about next week. Hopefully, we will come back and talk about something cool again, um,
yeah.
something interesting. And with that, thank you again, and good night. Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.